My name is Andy. I work as a team lead in a WordPress team at Lamsoda. We create websites and web shops with Magento, WordPress, obviously, and Typo 3. And those are the main technologies I work with if you're interested, or my favorite ones at least. As you can see, I love JavaScript, which is why I love Gutenberg. I also love React, again, which is why I love Gutenberg. So why Gutenberg? Jacob told us already. Um, so this is nothing new, I guess. First of all, it's included in the core. No extra plugin needed, no specific theme. That includes some bloated page builder. Also, it is built with React, and we love React. As a matter of fact, we have built lots of custom apps and websites with React in the past before WordPress. So before we started with WordPress. So obviously, I was very happy when I found out that Gutenberg blocks are actually built with React. With React, there comes component-based development, as you've heard already, which is a basic concept of Gutenberg as well. And it's more secure because, page builders usually come with a lot of additional code that is allowed to do a lot of things in WordPress. So of course that comes with security issues every now and then. You barely hear about security issues in Gutenberg, as far as I know, at least. So before we start with code, just in case you don't know React yet, it is quite easy to learn if you know JavaScript well, and it's a bit like Scrum, easy to learn but hard to master, because you can learn the basics very fast, but there are so many things you can learn. But you don't need to be a pro with React to build Gutenberg blocks. Here are a few important concepts of React you should know for Gutenberg blocks. The most important ones being functional components, JSX, hooks are very important, and you need to know what state and props are. Not for this presentation though, it will be very easy, but if you continue building your own blocks, you should know those things. But just check out the official React docs, they are really great, and they have a very good learning process there. Okay, so let's create our first Gutenberg block. Of course, you can just start from scratch and build your own block boilerplate. But for your first block, I highly recommend trying the create block script. It's an official way to build new blocks, and it generates all the necessary code for you. Assuming you have Node.js installed, which I think so, you can just use the npx command to use the script without installing in any project. And it downloads all the stuff you need. Downside is that it includes a complete build setup just for the block, most likely conflicting with your existing build setup, in our case, for example. But for a first quick look at all the files needed to create a new block, it's really great. So let me switch to the code. Let's take a look at the generated files. When you use the script, it creates this folder with some stuff like package.json with some build stuff. Yeah, I will not go into detail with this one. WP scripts is really great for a build setup. We're actually using it in our custom setup in a modified way, but it's really great. So you can learn a lot from this package. But this is not what we will talk about. We will talk about the PHP file. So first of all, there is a tiny function to register the new block type. As you can see, it just needs the build folder of the block files. And that's it in PHP. WordPress looks for a block JSON file in this folder, in this one you mentioned here. And here's the cool thing about that. You don't need to enqueue any script or style manually with WP enqueue and all the stuff. By using block JSON, assets will only be loaded when the block is present and used on the page. There are few things you can only do in PHP functions or in PHP and not in JavaScript. But in this case, we go straight to where the fun begins, which is JavaScript. in the source file. So that's all you need in PHP. You just use register block type and the folder where your stuff lies. So the block JSON I was talking about. And here's the magic. In the block JSON file, you can add some settings of the block, like the name or the slug, the title. You can give it an icon for the block library. You don't have to, of course, but you should. You can give it a version. You can define scripts for auto loading, like here. And this is cool because everything you name editor script and editor style will only get loaded in Gutenberg, only in the backend. Everything with view script or view style will get only loaded in the front end. And then there is, of course, a script and style this one will get loaded everywhere. So without any other coding, this works. By the way, you can take a look at the schema file in case you want to know which attributes you can use in this file. For example, PHP Storm tells me I cannot use anything. I can only use the specified ones. I cannot make any mistake here. This schema. Okay. Yeah. Next up, there is the index.js. And yeah, this file is very basic. It will always be very basic in your custom Gutenberg block, usually. In this file, we register our block for the Gutenberg editor here. And you only need to use the name specified in the block JSON file. You can also specify two important things in this file, the edit and the save component over here. Both of them are just simple React stateless functions or React components with JSX and all that stuff. We'll get to that in a second, but that's all you need here. And I will go to the edit.js. So the edit.js, those are the most important files, the edit.js and the save.js. Everything else is basically mostly boilerplate stuff, but this is where the fun happens. Edit component is used for the backend. In this file, you can define how your block should behave and look like in the Gutenberg editor. You can ignore all the stuff that's for translating. This is just an attribute. This will just output the class name, a custom class name for this, so you can ignore it for now. But in here, you specify everything that happens in Gutenberg, and it will show up whenever you use the block. I'll tell you later how that looks like. Then there is the save function, and this is for the front end. It cannot have any dynamic functionality. For example, you cannot use Ajax in this component. So what you define in this component will later be baked into the front end and only updated if you update the page in the backend. So you have to go to Gutenberg to edit the page and save the page, and then it will be updated. So whenever you change it in the save block, you have to open the editor first. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute what that means exactly. Let me just quickly go back to the presentation. So here is the list of things you need for the block again. In PHP, you only need to register the block, and it will load everything from the block JSON. Then you need the block JSON file. You need to register the block type in the index.js, and then it comes down to edit component and save component, and that's it, basically. Okay. In addition to those files, you should keep the components reference open, and this one is really huge. I have it open already. Yeah. So that's a complete reference of all the components you can use in Gutenberg in your custom Gutenberg block. Actually, all the things you need in Gutenberg are built on those components. So Be aware those Gutenberg components are for the backend, not for the front end. This is very important to know. You can just install them with npm or yarn like this. Everything is explained in detail here. Just install the components library, and then you can just, for example, with the button, you can just import the button and use it in the edit.js in your React function. So again, edit.js is for the backend. So whatever you do here will show up in Gutenberg. Okay, so let's get back to the code. One thing to mention, I will move on to our own blocks boilerplate because I got a local development setup here and I don't want to create a plugin just for a tiny block. This would be really hard here right now. All right, let's take a look at the edit.js file here. I've removed some stuff you don't really need here. So this is just basic text. I can already take a look how this looks like in the backend. Let me show you. So if I scroll down, here's the block lamb soda and lamb soda test block. I did not do a lot of things here. I just used the block JSON file with some category ls, some description. And again, I just created an index.js file with the edit block and the save block. This will not change at all. This is a bit different. There is one downside with the custom Gutenberg blocks with block.json. The auto-loading feature of the scripts doesn't work in themes as of now, at least not that I know of. It works perfectly fine in plugins. If you create a plugin with custom blocks, then it works. But there is some folder mismatch in themes. We were not able to solve this as of now, but yeah, doesn't really matter. So we have our own code to load the scripts for now, but we will change that soon probably. Anyway, again, it's all about edit.js and save.js. So let's just create a text control here as an example. I will go to the component reference. As you can see, this list is really long. I recommend taking a look at all the things here. So let's take text control. This is what it should look like. And I will just go to the code. This one, there's always an example code you can use. Okay. This one I can just keep. I don't know, doesn't really matter. And there is something very important, attributes. Attributes are like block settings. Every block can have attributes and you can specify them either in the block JSON, which I did here, or in the index.js. You could actually just copy this and use it in the index.js as well. Really matter. It's for me, it's a bit straightforward to use it here. So in here, you specify all the attributes you want to use later in the block, and they get saved with the block. You can change them in Gutenberg and they get saved. So I want to use an attribute called content, which is type string. It's a simple string and a default value. And then I have this one, it doesn't really matter, it's checked, type Boolean. For example, for a checkbox, you could use this one, defaults to false. So this is quite easy, I guess. Back to the edit JSON. I can use the attributes already. There's nothing else I need to do. I can use them because the edit block gets props. And you can also actually take a look at the props. It's nice to see. Oh, let me just remove this. Will generate errors. Just reload and take a look at the console. And I will add the block. And then you can see all the properties. Those are default properties and my attributes. Content is hello world and is checked as false. So the rest is not that important. There's is select. You can actually check if the component is checked right now. Oh, I didn't add it. Oh, it's too small to see. Yeah, you can only see it here. And the rest there's on remove. You can check if the component is being removed and then do something with that information, whatever. And there is set attributes. So we in this presentation we only need attributes and set attributes. I'll move this back. So I want to set the text control value to the attribute content. And on change, I want to change the attributes, of course. So that attributes, and now I need to specify which one, the content attribute to the new value. I'm used to removing all the white space because I don't like white space, but ignore this. Okay, so let's save it and reload. This I can ignore. No, it's not there. Okay, I will add it again, and there it is. This is the label I specified for the text block, and hello world, the default for the text block. Now I can just put something in here, I can update the page, and the attributes will get stored. So if I reload the page, hopefully, yeah, it's still there. So this is stored in the page already with attributes. Again, attributes are like settings for dynamic settings for components for Gutenberg blocks. Okay, now let me add inspector controls. And this is really cool because, as you know, there are there's this panel where you can do some stuff with your components usually, like paragraph doesn't have many attributes. Whatever, I will show how that works. I want to add some settings here for this block. For this, there is the inspector controls. And it just has to be somewhere. You can add it here. You can also add it after the text control. It really doesn't matter where you add it. And then I take a look at the docs because I want to add a panel. Like this. Again, I will just copy the code for the panel. It's just you can also live without the panel header. Actually, this is just for separation between different. You can add more than one panel actually, but it doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. Then there is the panel body. You can use more than one panel bodies to create different setting blocks, like collapsible blocks or accordions, if you like. And there is the panel row, which is just, this is really just about adding some basic styles for Gutenberg. So at the same text control, but because you can use all the components of Gutenberg everywhere in Gutenberg. I can just use it like this. This one I can just remove. I don't need an icon. Initial open is clear, I guess, what that means. I want to keep it open initially. And I will save it. Of course, you have to import all those components always. For the components, for the panels, there is the WordPress components library. And for the inspector controls, you need to add block editor library. Okay, so back to Gutenberg. Of course, you have to click on this one, and there it is. There's the panel with the label of the panel, and there is the panel body and the text input. The funny thing about this is if you know React and controlled components, that is a controlled component. And as you can see, whatever you type here shows up here and the other way around. This is funny. Update it again. If I reload it, everything is still here. So there it is. Okay. So that's it about the edit JSON. There's a lot more to it, of course, but this is just for the basics. So next up, there is the save block. I've prepared a basic save block because this is just a boilerplate for all our blocks, actually. It looks quite similar. There is the attributes. You cannot set attributes here because this is about the output in the front end. Okay. So this just adds the basic CSS class. I can show you later how that looks like in the browser. And in here, I can create everything that's happening in the front end. For example, I want to use the attribute, the content attribute here, maybe with an H2. This is actually bad practice because you would actually use an existing paragraph block as H2 in Gutenberg. And yeah, but anyway, doesn't really matter for this show. Attributes.content again. That's actually all I need to output the content. This, if you don't know JSX, it looks like HTML, but it isn't HTML. For example, class something would be class name here, which is a bit confusing, but those are actually not HTML attributes, but JavaScript attributes. So if you start with React, you will make this mistake a lot of times, probably. Okay, so back to our stuff. Now, if I open this page, nothing happens because as I mentioned, the save block gets baked into the website, into the front end. So you have to open the editor again. And then there is an error. No worries, I know this error, and you can just click on the button because whenever something changes in the save block, WordPress detects it or Gutenberg detects it and shows this error. So there's something have changed and you have to fix it, but I can try fixing it for you. And it works. So that's it. Nothing is different here because I only changed the save.js code. I will update the page, and in the front end, it looks like this. This is our H2. I can take a closer look. And actually, our custom block is just this one. There's a div with a class WP block ls hello world. So this you don't even need to write somewhere. This is just because of the use block props. It gets generated, and you can also use it for styling, of course, for example. And this is the H2. So there's really nothing else to it. I could also use a, no, P doesn't make sense here. Actually, section, whatever. Again, I have to reload the browser, the editor, and save it again, and take a look at the front end again. And there is it. There is this section again. Okay. So it's quite easy here. So that's it. It's not much code for a basic block, and really comes down to the edit and save block. Edit everything you need to show up in Gutenberg and save everything that shows up on the front end. Okay. So thank you for your attention. Let me just open the browser again for the thank you page, and feel free to ask any questions.